Okay. Ah, there we go. Perfect. I swear if I get copyright claimed for that playing, I'm going to be annoyed. I don't know, do you exist in the presence of the being that is the literal embodiment of non-existence? Lol. I'll begin in a minute. And real quick, if you have any thumbnails you want to send me, or videos you'd like me to respond to filled with bad death battle ideas, send them my way. You can send them to me through Twitter or Discord or whatever you have to be able to tag me on. I would say just send them to me in the chat, but obviously that's not going to work. You might be able to send me video links in the chat, but I don't know about like actual thumbnails. So just, there you go. Give me a minute while I share this out. And I was able to triple check, and I finally figured out what the issue was with my mic last time. So what went wrong was I accidentally messed with the volume knob on my microphone, and when I did the Pokemon one, I didn't notice that it was on full blast. So I'm probably going to redo that stream because I feel really bad that the audio quality on that was so poor, all because of a simple mistake on my part. Let's see, where is my Discord? And I definitely got plenty of places where we can look at terrible death battle ideas. I follow so many channels on Twitter that just post really horrid ideas. I could probably dedicate an EFAP style, I should say EFAP length podcast or live stream to all the terrible ideas I see daily. It's just embarrassing sometimes. The first one we're going to be looking at was, believe it or not, a request from our old friend Kevin. Yeah, surprisingly, he still recommends videos to me, even though I'm pretty certain the guy hates me. But who knows. But we'll take a look at that in a minute. Let me just pull an image up right here. You know what we're doing. We're taking a look at bad death battle ideas. Sadly, I won't be doing any gameplay streams until I get my computer put together. I did buy 2 new parts not too long ago, a monitor and a hard drive. And when I get my next check, I hope to get my hands on either a processor or a motherboard. I haven't quite figured that out yet. Once that's put together, I'll go back to doing more gaming streams because my laptop just can't handle that. This is the best I can do for now. I wanted to do another podcast episode, but couldn't get any guests, and I didn't really want to do it solo. Because it's just not really the same. But don't worry, the gaming streams will come back as soon as I get my brand new computer put together. And the graphics card I ordered is really good. Like, I ended up pre-ordering, like, the newest graphics card, so my gameplay streams are gonna look really freaking good when I get my hands on that thing. Oh, it goes without saying, the Death Battle fan wiki is just terrible. Now, don't get me wrong, the Death Battle fan wiki has proven they're pretty good at dealing with toxic fans, but they're not so good at dealing with the influx of shitty ideas that they get. Here we go. Alright. So the first one we're going to be looking at is Doctor Doom versus Gilgamesh. Now I know some people may think that, well, what's wrong with this one? It sounds good on paper, doesn't it? Well, no. Because Gilgamesh would get absolutely slapped by Doctor Doom. And this is something I always emphasize to people, but they never listen to me. Oh, by the way, if there's anything wrong with the volume, let me know and I'll get it taken care of. I did what I could to make sure the mic was at a better volume this time, so that way it won't blow out your speakers. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So, Gilgamesh gets slapped because here's the thing. Here's what drives me nuts about people in the Versus community. And I'm specifying the Versus community, not the Fate community. See, the Versus community has this impression that Gilgamesh is extremely OP and broken and all this stuff. Well, here's the thing. Yes, Gilgamesh is very overpowered, but he's not overpowered for the reasons that people think that he is. Yes, he's a very OP servant, but what a lot of people understand is why he is overpowered, because they usually don't take much of a dive into the Fate lore. The main reason why Gilgamesh is so overpowered, it's not because he himself is very strong, it's because of his noble phantasm. See, in the Fate series, what can make or break a servant is their noble phantasms. There are servants out there that can have great parameters, but still get their asses handed to them by a servant that has superior noble phantasms. And parameter-wise, Gilgamesh's stats are nothing special either, by the way. In fact, he was easily speed blitzed by Lancelot. But the reason why he was able to be so overpowered is because his Gate of Babylon. It is a noble phantasm, a vault, if you will, that's filled with a prototype of every noble phantasm that exists, with the exception of divine constructs like Karna's spear. And it is because he has all these noble phantasms, it basically makes him almost unstoppable when he goes up against other servants, because he can open up the Gate of Babylon as big as he wants and anywhere he wants. So he can literally just sit there and just spam noble phantasms of varying strength and status ailments at you. For example, he could just randomly throw a noble phantasm at you that will inflict some kind of curse just for shits. That's what makes him so overpowered. And realistically, the Gate of Babylon would be a joke to Doctor Doom. He wouldn't even register it as a threat to him. Because his armor makes him borderline impervious to any kind of magic. Dude can tank hits from the Hulk and the Silver Surfer who wields the power cosmic. If you know anything about Marvel lore, you would know that those are not characters to be fucked with. In the case of the Hulk is literally one half of the one above all, the most powerful being in the Marvel universe. You have to be out of your mind to think Gilgamesh has any chance against him. The only chance Gilgamesh could have against Doctor Doom is with Aya and the Chains of Enkidu. But even that probably wouldn't be enough to stop him, because As we've seen before, there have been characters that have managed to break out of the chains of Enkidu, such as Heracles, who did break the chains and nearly murdered Gilgamesh. And then you have the fact that while Aya could potentially take out Doctor Doom, as it is said to be the sword that can destroy all of creation, the thing is, the exact limits of Aya's power are not known. So we could speculate all we want on if Aya could take out Doom or not, but since we do not understand its full power, it's not necessarily a reliable weapon to use against Doom because there's no guarantee it could even pose a threat to him. Not to mention, Gilgamesh has been taken out by lesser foes, such as Shiro, for example. Now, this isn't to say that Gilgamesh is a bitch by any stretch of the imagination, and the recent Fate Strange fake of Gilgamesh is extremely powerful and even lacks the egotism and arrogance of Gilgamesh from Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night. Those were his biggest weaknesses holding him back. In Fate Strange Fake, he now is 100% serious, and he now takes his opponent seriously. And when Gilgamesh takes a fight seriously, all bets are off. However, even with all that being said, even if you give him the maximum benefit of the doubt, that you give him Fate Strange Fake Gilgamesh, you say that, okay, the sword, I can't talk right now, Aya is able to just end all of creation. Well, that makes the assumption that Gilgamesh would even be able to use the thing before Doom absolutely obliterates him. Now, if you want, I can pull up comic book panels that I think easily show why this matchup is such a terrible idea. Consider the following. Doom can tank hits from Thanos, Hulk while wielding the power cosmic, and the Silver Surfer. Not to mention, he went to hell to save his mother. Doom is not one to be trifled with. He is extremely powerful, and magic-wise, he would absolutely obliterate Gilgamesh. We have seen what magic users, like Doctor Strange, for example, are capable of. Now imagine the stuff Doctor Strange can do. Now imagine Doctor Doom with that power. You really honestly believe Gilgamesh has any chance against him? That he wouldn't get obliterated in a matter of seconds? Even if you give Gilgamesh all the benefit of the doubt you can, and you just really lowball the shit out of Doom, it's not going to matter. Unless it's Doctor Doom from the movies, Gilgamesh is going to die. A lot. He has nothing in his arsenal that could reliably kill Doom, with the exception of maybe Aya. And even then, it's not guaranteed because we don't know its exact limits. And contrary to popular belief, Gilgamesh is not multiversal. There's this misunderstanding out there based on some information that was in the Faked Extra games that Gilgamesh is a multiversal threat. However, this is false, and I have one of my buddies who is on my research team explain this. And if you're ever curious, I could have him explain to you exactly why that's wrong. I could go over it in great detail, but I don't want to spend too much time on one idea because I want to make sure we get through a lot of them. But to put it simply, Gilgamesh is not multiversal. The idea that he is multiversal is based on a piece of information from Fate Extra that was heavily taken out of context. In fact, Gilgamesh's exact limits are not known either, which is another reason why it's not really a good idea to use Gilgamesh right now, because it's the equivalent of trying to use Goku. Because right now, his exact limits are not known. And until his exact limits are known, it's just going to create a mess of a situation. But moreover, The logic here is, well, they're both arrogant, egotistical magic users, so have them fight. I think that's just a very lame reason to have these two fight. And of course, once you throw compatibility out the window, the rest immediately starts to fall apart. Now sure, you can maybe have some interesting dynamics between these two, but at the end of the day, if Gilgamesh can't even fight his opponent, what is even the point? So, hopefully this was enough to satisfy you, Kevin. If not, I'll go more in detail as to why this is a terrible idea. But let's move on to another one that I found that was kind of really, really stupid that I saw. Give me a moment here. Here it is. Dang it. Let's see here. I don't know why either. It's the same reason why... It's the same similar situation with Spawn versus Ghost Rider. I will never understand why that's such a popular idea. Marks, no. Just no. You've proven to me on countless occasions you know nothing about Fate, so don't you dare try to even open your mouth about power scaling Fate characters. You've proven to me you don't even understand the bare basics of Fate. You don't even know what the heck a noble phantasm is. So just stop, okay? You embarrass yourself when you do this. For your own sake, just stop. Leave it to the Fate fans that actually know what they're talking about, okay? Because the way in which you try to describe why you think Machamp would be able to fight Heracles just made me want to put my head through the wall. Because it's so stupid how little you understand of how Noble Phantasms work and how Heracles works. Imagine Cthulhu versus Team Ruby. I would rather not. Yeah, but Doom versus Gilgamesh is a horrible idea. The basic idea of Doom versus Gilgamesh comes down to, hey, these guys sound similar. Have them fight. How many times do we have to go over mirror matchups? How many times am I going to have to explain why mirror matchups are a terrible idea before people eventually stop doing them? Or at least stop thinking that they're a good idea? Seriously. I'm already working on a script about mirror matchups, explaining what they are and why they're bad, in the hopes that people will get it, because apparently all the other times I have ranted about mirror matchups in my Death Battle reviews, apparently the point just hasn't gotten through to people. And yeah, we got 2 bad Gilgamesh Death Battle ideas for the price of 1. Here, we have Griffith versus Gilgamesh. This one, I don't even get what the logic is on this one. I assume it's because maybe they're arrogant kings, but even then. Like, I went over this with my boy Sam, who's a part of my research team, and he said, this is dumb. We really don't have any feats of what Femto is capable of. We don't know what he is capable of in his God Hand form. We just don't have anything to go off of. The only thing we've seen him do is use the Force against Guts, and then we saw him do something to Skull Knight, and then that was it. He's borderline featless in his God Hand form. And let's be real here. The only chance Griffith would have against Gilgamesh is with his God Hand form. But since we have no clue what the hell that thing is capable of, Gilgamesh would just obliterate him in an instant. So once again, this wouldn't even be a fight. Like, I have to wonder if these people ever consider compatibility before coming up with these matchups. Because I say it so many times. If you ignore compatibility, everything else is going to fall apart. I explained this to Fan War the other day. That a good versus matchup needs a solid foundation. If you do not have a good versus matchup is like a house. If you don't have a solid foundation, the rest of it's going to fall apart and it's just going to be a disaster. I don't know how many times I have to explain this. Like, seriously. Like, when you ignore compatibility, what is the other character supposed to do? What is Griffith supposed to do here other than bleed on Gilgamesh? Tell me, what is Griffith going to do? He's not going to do anything. I'd go so far as to say Guts would have a better chance against Gilgamesh than Griffith, because at least we have a good understanding of what Guts is capable of. And he could probably last longer against Gilgamesh with his Berserker armor on. Yeah, not by much, as Gilgamesh would still obliterate Guts, but I would at least say he would last a little bit longer than Griffith. So, I have no clue what the logic is on this one. Like, seriously, this matchup gives me nothing to work with. And once again, just because you can find similarities, that doesn't make a good matchup. People seem to confuse good connections with similarities. Now, let me explain. To me, a good connection is some kind of theme that can connect the two characters' universes together. Not necessarily just saying, oh, well, these two characters have a similar power or a similar characteristic, so have them fight. No, that's fucking lame. Like, you never saw Deadliest Warrior doing this crap. Because Deadliest Warrior knew better. Like, here's what I explained once again to Fan War. Luke versus Darth Vader. Now, character-wise, these two are polar opposites. However, the unifying connection of father and son makes their duels compelling. Now, that's what I mean by a good connection. It doesn't necessarily have to translate to similarities, and I wish people would understand that. Now, let's move on to another one. My thoughts on Broly versus Hulk are still pending. I'm sorry, I know it's been taking me forever. I haven't gotten the chance to finish the review yet. I've been so busy. Like I said, thankfully, I have 4 days off this week, so I'm going to try to get that up. I'm also working on the Kara versus 682 review. I'm really sorry it's been taking me so long. I feel really bad about it, because I know it's what you guys want. And another thing that's been making me take so long is because I'm working on a new template for the reviews, so that way Rooster Teeth will stop blocking my videos unjustly. So I'm working on a new template. Hopefully this new template will get them to back off. But let's move on to other bad ideas. In fact, let me see if I can pull up a video here that we can look at. let's give that a go. Because I know a lot of people make videos. Top death battles for 2021. That video's 15 minutes long. Okay, that might be a bit much. Unless you guys don't mind. Oh, wait. Here we go. My old buddy Grand Bull. Okay, this should be interesting. Give me a minute to pull this video up. This video might take up the vast majority of the stream. But let's see what we got here. Since I know I'm just Grand Bull's favorite person. Give me a second. Display capture. Nope. Ah, here we go. All right. Perfect. All right, are you guys ready for this? Okay, let me take a look at this one real quick. Beetlejuice versus Freddy Krueger. That one's a tricky one because, as I've explained numerous times, Freddy Krueger is like Gasai in the sense that he can be either extremely OP or a complete bitch. Now, for example, if you have Freddy Krueger in the dream world, he's essentially unstoppable because he has limitless powers. He's only bound by dream logic. Similar to how Toon Force users are bound by cartoon logic. That is to say, no logic whatsoever. And as long as Freddy Krueger remains in the dream world, he's essentially unstoppable. There is no way to stop him. He can do whatever he wants. Even if you kill him, he'll just get back up like nothing even happened. But in the case of Beetlejuice, he is a Toon Force user. So it can really go both ways. Because if you allow Freddy Krueger to be in the dream world, then Beetlejuice is going to have a problem because even though he is a Toon Force user, I don't know how powerful of a Toon Force user he is. I'd have to do a little bit more research on him because I am looking into Beetlejuice as a possible candidate for a season 1 episode of Blood Royale. But I need to do a little bit more research on the character to get an understanding of what he's capable of. But if Freddy Krueger is outside of the dream world, then he's essentially a really strong human, and Beetlejuice would probably effortlessly be able to take him out. You kind of see what I mean? It all really depends on if you allow Freddy Krueger to be in the dream world or not. Because if you do put him in the dream world, well, his opponent's typically fucked. If that makes any sense. Actually, I've seen all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Every single one. And yes, his power is borderline limitless. I'll say borderline limitless so people don't think I'm pulling a no limits fallacy or anything like that. What I mean is, since Freddy Krueger in the dream world is bound only by the logic and rules of dreams, like he said in one of the movies, it might be your dream, but it's my rules. In the dream world, Freddy Krueger makes all the rules, and he can change the rules at will. For example, there's been times where people have used their dream powers against Freddy Krueger, and he's been able to take them away with the snap of a finger. Like that time he fought against that comic book dude, and he turned into Super Freddy, essentially became invincible, took his powers away, and then carved him up. After turning him into essentially a paper cutout of a comic book panel. There's just not really much limit as to what he's capable of in the dream world. And the more people he kills, the more souls that are inside his body, the more powerful he becomes. So, Freddy is just an absolute nightmare to deal with if you allow him access to the dream world. Thank you, Riley. Indeed, it has been a while. 'Cause But yeah, let's get this video running. Since this is Grand Bull here, we can probably expect to see some very special ideas, because he is a very, very special man. I'm just going to skip his intro. Admittedly, this is kind of a cool setup right here, I won't lie. Easy.
Vision versus Martian Manhunter. So, if you've seen my list from last year, you would know that this fight was number 5 on there. And as you can see, it got lowered quite a bit to number 10. I don't have much to add to this fight, but I do want to go over a couple of things I missed my first time around. Let's start with the first thing I screwed up on, their powers. In my last list, I said both had the ability to turn intangible. However, it's a lot more than that. It's actually more like they can manipulate the density of their bodies to be light as air or hard as steel. Then there's the Mind Stone. I mentioned that Martian Manhunter could read minds, however, I think it would cancel out by Vision's Mind Stone. Since Thanos vs. Darkseid, one of the little boxes said that the anti-life equation...
Okay. Strike one, Grand Bull here. Never, ever, ever cite Death Battle as a source. These people have been wrong before. Why not just cite the comics? I'm sure you can find a panel on the Mind Stone. I'm sure you can find a wiki page. Anything would be better than using these jagoffs.
Was cancelled out by the Mind Stone. Also, Manhunter is stronger than I thought, since I completely forgot that Manhunter is as powerful as Superman himself. Meaning that his...
Okay, but which version of Superman are we talking here? Like, I hate it when people think that, oh, this character can fight Superman, so therefore they're automatically OP. If anyone's seen my stream on... Which, don't worry, I'll definitely give my thoughts on this when he's done giving his thoughts. I'll just give a little commentary here and there. But anyway, I digress. If you've seen my stream that me and one of my guests did about the top 10 characters that could destroy Superman, we were able to show that there are plenty of characters that can easily defeat Superman without needing to be any kind of crazy OP, like taking out planets or solar systems. I've proven this on multiple occasions.
Strength output is about 6.6 sextillion tons.
Oh, don't you worry, comic book. I'll get to that.
Right, he was faster than light. But one of the questions, or one of the things many people commented about in the last video was that 1, Martian Manhunter isn't weak to fire, and 2, that Vision should fight Red Tornado. Let's start with the fire weakness. So after that video went up, some people said that Martian Manhunter wasn't weak to fire because he built up to an immunity to it, similar to Venom building up an immunity to sound. However, that's simply not the case.
Man, I'm happy to see how good this stream is doing.
Or even killed by fire. In the death of Superman, Doomsday threw him into a gas station and he was set on fire, and it was clearly showing that hurt him. And then in the Injustice comics, he died via burnt by Superman's heat vision. If that doesn't scream that he's weak to fire, then I don't know what does. Then there's the second thing. Why not Vision versus Red Tornado? While both were built to be used for evil, but turned to the side of good, again, that's all there is to it. What I did not mention about Vision and Martian Manhunter similarities is yes, both can read minds, phase through objects, have heat vision, and are extra members to their respective teams. Both were also pawns in a bigger scheme. And in my words, prisoner...
Translation, mirror matchup. Like, I'll just cut the bullshit right there. That's all he's saying. This is what I mean about the difference between similarities and connections. All he's basically saying is just, it's a mirror matchup, so do it. That's all these matchups ever come down to. Not only is it a mirror matchup, but it's a trendy matchup because of the stupid Marvel vs. DC thing. How many times do we need to see Marvel versus DC? It is overplayed. Stop it. People are getting sick and tired of this. Nobody wants Marvel vs. DC anymore. Maybe some casual fans do. And maybe some people in the Marvel vs. DC fan base that for some reason are still obsessed with proving that their comic book universe is better. But for the most part, people are getting sick of this. It's boring. How many times do we have to see this? Honestly, how many times? How many times have we seen Marvel vs. DC on Death Battle alone? Like what, almost 30 times by now? I've honestly lost count. If anyone can remember the exact number, please leave it in the live chat. But I lost count after like 20. 20 goddamn Marvel vs. DC matchups. Is there nothing else that you guys can think of? Like, yay, let's do Marvel vs. DC again, and let's put these two together because, oh, well, they both read minds, and they were both pawns in a bigger game. Okay, and who cares? Like, honestly, who gives a fuck? Misa Amane was a pawn in a bigger game. Does that mean we should have Misa Amane fight Vision, huh? Jesus. Like, there's just no creativity here whatsoever. Nothing. Now, granted, this is at the bottom of the list, but even so. Ugh. And I would give my thoughts on Vision versus Red Tornado, but sadly, I don't know very much about Red Tornado. If I knew more about him, then I would give my comments on it, but I do know a lot more about Vision and Martian Manhunter than I do about Red Tornado. Maybe I'll save that one for another time.
Of war. Since Vision was supposed to be used as Ultron's new body, and Martian Manhunter was taken hostage by another alien race. So with that all out of the way, I still think Vision would win this fight. Manhunter's strength and speed are impressive, but Vision's powers and durability simply outclass him. Alrighty, with that fight out of the way.
Then what is the point? If you already know who's gonna win, what is the fucking point of this matchup? See, this is something I've always told people. If you go into a matchup already knowing who the opponent... Damn it. What is wrong with me today? I swear, my lack of sleep is really starting to get to me. If you go into a matchup knowing exactly who's going to win, there's no point in the matchup. None whatsoever. It is a waste of frickin' time. This is why curb stomp matchups are such a bad idea. So let's add potential curb stomp matchup to the list. Literally, the 3 fucking sins. The 3 type of matchups that people cannot stand. Mirror matchups, trendy matchups, and curb stomp matchups. You couldn't make this matchup more unappealing if you tried.
Move on, shall we? Number 9. Alrighty, we are in new territory now. Starting off by number 9, we have Zuko. Let's see who he shall fight.
Oh god. I feel like I know exactly where this is going.
Zuko versus Cinder.
Oh my god, you people are so damn predictable, aren't you? Do I even need to explain what's wrong with this one? I've explained so many times why Azula versus Cinder is bad, and why Zuko versus Cinder is bad. You're making Death Battle look credible. Because as bad as Zuko versus what's-his-name was, I'm bad at remembering his name, from My Hero Academia, it's at least better than Zuko versus Cinder. Although, admittedly, that's not saying much. But let's hear his reasons. I'll hear him out. But just for the record, I have explained this one so many times.
Shoto is the common idea I've seen, but I really don't like it, honestly. I just don't really care about My Hero, so, I mean, I can't really say it's a good... I like the idea. And Roy Mustang is kinda meh, in my opinion. So that leaves Zuko versus Cinder. Despite this fight not being very popular, there's still a lot of connections.
What? It's not very popular? Are you out of your mind? Whenever I hear Cinder mentioned, it's either Zuko or Azula. So you are either lying, Grand Bull, or you have no clue what you're talking about. I see this matchup every single time Cinder gets mentioned. What are you on, Grand Bull?
Here, they're very similar skill-wise with their swords and their martial arts, and even with their firebending. Along with this fight being a male versus a female, which is very rare in Death Battle.
Okay, male versus female. Who gives a crap if it's a male versus female matchup? Like, seriously. Chat, you tell me, do you really give that much of a crap about a male versus female matchup? Does the gender of the opponent really matter that much to you? Honestly. Because I gotta tell you, I don't really care. Like, just because it's a rare occurrence on Death Battle, okay, and? Like, what does it matter? What does the sex of the characters really matter in the grand scheme of things? Like, that's like me saying, oh, well, gay characters versus non-gay characters is a rare occurrence on Death Battle. Like, nobody cares. Again, it's just all this surface level crap. Well, they're similar with their sword skills and martial arts. Okay, how about you give me some meat to go with those bones?
Also, do I even need to say how similar they are, or how they look similar? Where's Red? Scar over?
I can just feel the desperation in this man. This right here is your brain on similarities. This is what you look like when all you care about in a matchup is similarities. You start looking at the color of their fucking clothes. By the way, I hope I don't have to explain that any anger in quotations that I'm displaying is not real. I'm just playing it up to entertain you guys. But I might as well put that out there for the people that might take this too seriously and think I'm yelling or something. But seriously, this is why I tell people similarities mean jack shit. Okay, they both wear red. Who the cares? You know... okay, calm down. Calm down. Okay. You know who... You know what else led to a crappy matchup? Green Lantern versus Ben 10. Well, they both wear green and wield alien technology. Yeah, how did that go exactly? Oh yeah, it's regarded as one of the worst death battles of all time. And single-handedly ensured that the Ben 10 fan base would hate Death Battle forever. Yeah, that's right. Like, again, similarities and connections are not the same thing. Just because you can find some similarities doesn't make it a good matchup. Let's continue.
Over right eye, black hair, martial artist, pyrokinesis, use dual swords. Also, this fight, in my opinion, is a bit more even, in my opinion.
Well, it's almost as if the RWBY universe is absolute cannon fodder, and there's not many characters the RWBY universe can fight without getting their asses handed to them. However, how many times have I explained to you people about same elemental matchups? How many times do we have to go over this? How many times do I have to explain to you why this is a bad idea? It didn't work with Nasu versus Ace. It didn't work with Gaara versus Toph. did I ever tell you the definition of insanity? How many times are you people gonna keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over and over again before you realize that these ideas don't work?
Zuko obviously has the advantage when it comes to raw destructive capability, comparing him to his father, Fire Lord Ozai, who could obliterate entire villages with his fire alone. It seems like the strength factor goes to him. Cinder's powers, on the other hand, are a bit more interesting. Cinder fire powers come from two things. The first is her manipulation of dust. Dust is pretty much everything you get in the dustpan, and if it could, I don't know, hurt people or power electronics. However, though, Cinder has a lot more control over her dust thanks to the fact that she sewed it.
My god, Ruby's animation is absolutely painful to look at.
This also can enhance her aura.
Honestly, how is this okay to you, Rooster Teeth? Rooster Teeth, if you're watching, which I'm sure you probably are, considering how much you intentionally go out of your way to block my videos, how is this, in your opinion, okay? How is this acceptable to you? Like, have you not actually seen any well-animated stuff? And I don't want to hear the excuse that it's an internet show, because I've seen some animations on the internet that are just absolutely incredible. Like, on par with what you would see from a professional studio. So don't give me that BS. Like, how can you just take these MMD models and then just slap it together and say, done? Like, do you have any quality assurance whatsoever? I mean, I know this is Rooster Teeth, but come on. And again, who cares if they have the same element? That is boring. That is not as interesting as you think that it is. What's interesting about watching two people that can do the exact same thing? There's a reason why I've coined the term mirror matchup. Because a mirror matchup is the equivalent of just watching someone in the mirror. When you get down to it, it's really not all that impressive. You might as well pick a fight with a mirror. It would be about as entertaining.
Can block deadly attacks and heal minor wounds. Her mastery with her dust and aura are so skilled that she can actually create weapons out of it. Her main weapons are two dual...
Okay, so what? Zuko can literally make daggers out of his own firebending. Who cares? Is that supposed to be something mind-blowing that we've never seen before?
Swords, but they can also function as a bow as well. And of course, Zuko also has dual swords. And he really doesn't have a bow, since, you know, you can just kind of shoot fire at people. Now, if you were to ask me, I believe both Zuko and Cinder are equal in experience. Considering that Cinder is a fallen maiden, and Zuko was trained by the Avatar and his father, Fire Lord Ozai.
Zuko was not trained by the Avatar. Zuko trained the Avatar. So, unless that was a fuck-up on your part, like, no. Zuko was not trained by the Avatar. He had to teach the Avatar. Because he was his firebending master. Also, what does Cinder being a maiden have to do with experience? Like, can someone who actually knows more about Ruby explain to me what her being a maiden has to do with her levels of experience? Why can't you just simply explain why she's very well experienced? Is that really so difficult to do? You can't pull up examples of why her experience is good at all?
However, Zuko is much faster, given the fact that he can dodge lightning. Also, Zuko's fire is a...
Well, actually, that's not true. The Ruby universe has lightning timers. I can confirm this because I've seen the feats. Now, I don't know if Cinder herself is a lightning timer, but I know lightning timing feats are a thing within the Ruby universe, so odds are they're most likely even in terms of speed. I'm not sure how much research he actually did on this. I can't imagine it was a lot, though, if he made a simple mistake like that. Even I could easily pull up lightning timing feats within the Ruby universe. It's not that hard, dude.
a lot stronger, given the fact that he can even overpower blue fire, which, if you don't know, is hotter and stronger than red fire. So with that out of the way, I believe Zuko would win this. Cinder's experience, skills, and arsenal are impressive, however Zuko outclasses her in speed, strength, and durability. I will say, if Death Battle were the...
What the hell? He didn't even mention durability. Wait. Did this dude just say he outclasses her in durability, but then not explain this? Like, unless him saying that he was able to intercept lightning and was his durability, but if so, he very poorly explains it. I mean, yeah, Zuko's able to survive getting struck by lightning, but he almost died from it. And he had to be healed by Katara so he wouldn't die. What the heck? Like, durability-wise, I mean, Zuko's gotten launched through walls before. Also, why not mention that Zuko's kicks are so strong, he can break through chains with just a kick? Why not mention that? Just saying, there's a lot more you could bring up here feat-wise.
This would be a very fun fight, and another nice addition to the RWBY Death Battle list.
But nobody's asking for that garbage. The first RWBY matchup ever was an insulting advertisement for RWBY at the expense of a beloved Final Fantasy character, and has since then been widely regarded as potentially the worst death battle ever made. And don't get me started on frickin' Whis versus... Let's see. I know her name. Why can't I say it right now? Girl from Persona. If I remember her name, I'll get back to you on that. But yeah. Not many people are asking for RWBY matchups. Because, I don't know if you know this, but RWBY is dying. Give me a second, guys. Hey, fight. Stop it. Damn it. Okay, let's see. Let's take a look at the chat. No, we cannot, because Sanji versus Lee was not the worst sprite animation of all time. Not by a long shot. So, let's move on.
Number 8. Okay, this is where things are gonna get interesting. This fight may stir up some controversy, but whatever.
Oh, a controversial fight. Okay.
His opponent is. Shulk versus Trunks. Wow, this is a surprise. So, let's go through Shulk and Trunks' other matchup. Silver versus Trunks is stupid. I hate it. They only have 2...
Well, at least we can agree on one thing, Grand Bull. That this matchup is trash. Seriously, all you people asking for Silver versus Trunks, stop it. When even Death Battle is going on their podcast to make fun of how shitty your matchup is, stop suggesting it. Okay? Stop. Nobody wants to see it. Give up.
similarities: time travel and the Super Saiyan form. That's it. Shulk versus Lightning is interesting, but I never got that idea at all.
Also, I'll just make this easy for you, Grand Bull. Lightning would most likely completely obliterate Shulk. Admittedly, I don't know too much about his power and feats, but at least as a Final Fantasy fan, I could tell you that Lightning would most likely kick his ass. Lightning is at least universal level. She was able to defeat Bunavelza, who created the entire universe. And she's also the goddess of death. Lightning is not one to be trifled with. She is one of the most powerful Final Fantasy characters of all time, at least on the protagonist side. So you gotta be very careful who you throw against Lightning, because she is incredibly overpowered.
Honestly. And it doesn't seem like Sora is going to be coming back anytime soon, so this is the next best option. And
Shulk versus Sora. What the F? Why? What's even the logic on that one? You know what? If Grand Bull's gonna skip over it, I might as well too.
I think the similarities of this fight work a lot better than those other matchups, in my opinion. Both.
This whole video is just gonna be must similarities, isn't it? If this whole video is going to be nothing more than a series of mirror matchups, I might as well just stop here and not even waste your guys' time when there's other matchups we can go over. Now, I know that this is labeled Let's Roast Shitty Death Battle Ideas, but I feel like there's only so many times I can say mirror matchups are stupid before it starts to get boring. And I know you guys probably want to see some really special kind of shitty ideas. But let's give them a chance, I guess.
Are trying to stop their futures from ending up totally destroyed or annihilated.
You know who else did that? The entire cast of Chrono Trigger! You might as well throw Chrono against these guys while you're at it. It makes about as much sense. Okay, they want to stop their futures from falling into ruin. Who cares? Give me something more to work with than that. Like, if I can easily pull out another character using that same logic without even putting more than 5 seconds of thought into it, that's a problem. Like, what makes this any different from Trunks versus Chrono? At least with Trunks versus Chrono, you have the excuse that both Chrono and Trunks were made by the same guy, Akira Toriyama.
And also both of them use swords, so...
Who cares if they both use swords? That means nothing. Guts uses a sword. Link uses a sword. Cloud uses a sword. Lightning uses a sword. In fact, if this is your reason for why you think that this matchup is good, then I can tell you the same applies for Shulk versus Lightning. Lightning also wants to prevent her future from falling into ruin by trying to prevent the end of times. She also wields a sword. And time travel is involved in the sequel to Final Fantasy XIII. There you go. Lightning versus Shulk all of a sudden makes sense. Now how does that feel, Grand Bull? God, your reasons for these matchups are bad. I shouldn't be able to use your same logic to justify a matchup that you think doesn't work.
Now, I know most of you people are going to say it's unfair because Shulk is universal or something to that nature. We'll get to that later, but let's run down both characters. Shulk has his trusty blade, the Monado. This blade gives its users several unique abilities called arts. There are 5 arts: Jump, Speed, Shield, Buster, and Smash.
Also, considering that a lot of Dragon Ball Z characters are casually universal at this point, I would say that Shulk being universal doesn't mean jack. He would probably need to be universal to avoid getting obliterated. Like, are we supposed to forget that this is Dragon Ball we're talking about here? A lot of the strongest Dragon Ball characters are at least universal. Now, maybe you could argue that, well, characters like Goku and Vegeta are only universal when they're using their Super Saiyan God forms, but even so. Implying that this matchup is unfair because Shulk is universal, that's stupid. Because most Dragon Ball characters are universal. Hell, they're bordering on multiversal. They're not quite there yet, but given a little bit of time, they're going to be.
Jump obviously gives Shulk some extra boost in his jumps. Speed increases the user's speed, obviously.
What does having extra boost in his jump matter when Dragon Ball characters can fly? What does that matter to Trunks? What is even this tangent?
Shield increases the user's defense, Buster increases the person's strength, and Smash increases the user's knockback when they hit something. Along with gaining the power of the Monado, Shulk also gained the ability to see the future with his future sight. It pretty much allows him to predict what is going to happen in a fight. Kinda. Yeah, Shulk's visions aren't exactly the most reliable when it comes to it, but after a bit of training...
Translation, it gives him low-tier precognition. There. I just saved you guys a lot of time.
He did figure out how to predict what his visions meant, so he's pretty much got it mastered. And after he lost the first Monado to Zanza, he gained a new sword known as the Monado 3, which allowed him to kill Zanza, a god.
Don't bite.
And yeah, that's pretty much
Don't
it.
bite.
Now let's look at Trunks. Well, Trunks has a sword that's kind of where the similarities end for the two. Trunks being the son of the legendary...
Also, I would like to point out that Trunks has his sword for all of only a couple of episodes before it gets broken. Like, describing Trunks as a swordsman is just stupid. He only has his sword for a few episodes and then he loses it and it never comes back. Why do people even bother bringing this up whenever Trunks gets brought into versus matchups? He's not a swordsman. Just because he has a sword doesn't mean jack. Especially when he uses it, like, what, twice?
Sword of Vegeta, he has superhuman physiology. He can fly, has superhuman strength, speed, and durability, can fire ki blasts from his hands, and is a master at hand-to-hand and sword combat. And of course, being a Saiyan means he can go Super Saiyan, increasing that absurd human physiology of his. With these powers, Trunks is an absolute monster in combat. He's defeated some of Dragon Ball's most powerful combatants, like the Android Twins, Imperfect Cell, and Frieza, who he probably cut into multiple pieces and then vaporized. And once even blew up a mountain to obliterate a mountain of...
This is what being a Death Battle fan does to you. You look at a character like Trunks, and you cite him blowing up a mountain as an impressive feat. Are you shitting me? Bruh, we had moon-busting feats as early as the Saiyan saga. Characters like beginning series Piccolo could casually obliterate a moon. And you're citing blowing up a mountain as something impressive? Are you out of your mind? How is this guy real? What even is this? Then again, I wouldn't expect much from somebody who cites Death Battle as a source.
That size means the blast must have been equal to over 20 megatons of TNT.
Congratulations, Daddy Death Battle would be so proud of this level of power scaling ineptitude.
T. That's impressive, and it's also implied that he can move as fast as lightning. Shulk.
As fast as lightning. As fast as lightning? Are you high? You know, it's at times like this I wish I did drugs. Did this dude really just say that Trunks is maybe lightning speed? Oh my god.
Shulk also has shown some pretty ridiculous feats of strength. One of those being the time he blocked the sword from whatever how to pronounce this. This thing looks pretty much as big as a mountain, so it could be possible that this thing could destroy a mountain, putting him in the same ballpark.
Oh, possible. It could be. You know, just because his sword is as big as a mountain doesn't mean it's necessarily a mountain-busting attack. You have to look at the strength of what this thing is capable of. You have to look at its destructive potential, not necessarily the size of the blade. To quote a wise Jedi, size matters not.
And his Trunks. Now we're going to talk about the biggest issue I have here, though, and why people say that this fight is unfair. It's because people think Shulk is universal, but in reality, he's not. First of all, there's no evidence that Shulk is universal. He has no feats to back up this claim, other than one statement made by the game, and that he defeated Zanza. I know most people are going to say that the Monado 3 is said to kill gods and make the user a god. This is true. Once again, other than that one statement...
Okay, simply having the power of a god means jack. Each universe has their own definition of what a god is. Some stronger than others, some weaker than others. For example, in the DBZ universe, we know that the gods in DBZ can literally make the universe shake by simply fighting. So, yeah, in the context of Dragon Ball, their gods are universal or higher. But then you have other universes, for example, Legend of Zelda, it was stated that the goddesses of Hyrule created the land of Hyrule. And it's speculated that these gods are likely planetary in strength. So simply being a god doesn't automatically mean you're universe level. I know that the Christian God was said to be able to create the universe, but not every deity is capable of making a universe. That's just simply not the case. You have to look into what that universe's context of what a deity is.
In defeating Zanza, he has no other feats to back up universal scaling. Plus, the same thing could be said for Trunks if you were to scale him to other Dragon Ball characters, like Vegeta or Goku. Also, unlike Shulk, Trunks has way more training than him, given the fact that he's trained ever since he was able to walk. So, Shulk has unpredictability and versatility, but Trunks has superior strength, speed, durability, and experience, giving him...
Yeah, Trunks is most likely going to obliterate Shulk in every way. Because the power of DBZ characters is not to be trifled with. Allow me to offer this to you. Planetary characters are now... Planetary strength is considered cannon fodder within the Dragon Ball universe. Yamcha is planet level, and Yamcha is laughed at for how weak he is. Master Roshi is planet level, and I doubt you would really imply that Master Roshi is anything impressive. At least in regards to the other Dragon Ball characters. Hell, even Krillin is at least star level or higher. Yet you want to bring out this pathetic lowball to say that, well, he did destroy a mountain, even though that's bullcrap. Trunks is easily able to kill people like Frieza, who is able to destroy planets like Vegeta, which are known for being 3 times the size of Earth. By the way, is the chat dead, or did it just freeze on me? Yep, sorry guys, the chat just screwed up on me. Now I'm looking back and I'm seeing everything you guys said. Sorry about that. But yeah, this is just painfully bad. This is an old video. Let's take a look here. I mean, that's not really a point. This came out a couple months ago. How is this an old video? How is this an old video? And even if it is an old video, I do not care. Well, on my end, the chat was frozen or something because I wasn't seeing any chats. I wasn't sure what was going on. So I clicked out of the stream and pulled it back up on my phone, and now it's working again. I was worried. I wasn't sure what was going on with the type. With the chat. The reasoning for this matchup is pitiful. Again, this is what it's like being a Death Battle fan. This is what it does to you. This guy constantly defends Death Battle from me. This is impressively terrible. I'm definitely going to have to respond to Grand Bull more often because I knew his takes were bad based on what I've seen on YouTube, but now that I've seen some of his videos, I never could imagine that they were this bad. How can you sit here and cite a mountain-level feat as impressive when Piccolo, early series Piccolo, could casually vaporize a moon? I don't know if you know this, Grand Bull, but moon level is higher than mountain level. Maybe take a course on power scaling sometime.
And the victory in this fight. Looks like Trunks was a sight for sore eyes in this fight. Gotta love bad puns, and there's more where that came from.
Stop with the puns. I know people think that they're funny, but in truth, they're not. They are really freaking annoying. Puns are the lowest form of humor. There's a reason why when people hear puns, they cringe, not laugh. Because nobody likes puns. They are just lame. Write an actual joke.
Number 7. I gotta say, Doc Ock is probably my favorite Spider-Man villain. He's just so complex and really interesting. And with that complexity means it's kinda hard to find an opponent for him. But I think I found a good compromise there. So let's spin the wheel and see who it is.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Doc Ock as a character, but all he can really do is fight with his tentacle arms. He can't really do much else. And again, I love Doc Ock. He's always been one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, but he's not really much of a fighter. His mechanical arms do all the work. He himself is just a normal human being. There's nothing special about him. He's not any kind of combat expert or anything. Take his tentacles out of the equation and he's nothing. I swear if you say General Grievous.
Doc Ock versus Mr. Freeze. General Grievous has no...
Well, we're back to Marvel vs. DC again. Also, why Mr. Freeze? I mean, I know he's going to explain, but seriously, what the heck? This just comes off as desperate to me. Yeah, exactly. Doc Ock has no powers. He has his robot tentacles and nothing else. That's all he can do. All Mr. Freeze has to do is take out his tentacles and the fight is over.
Similarities to Doc Ock at all. Unless you count the forearms thing, which I really don't.
Whatever.
Honestly. Gizmo could work, but there's not a lot of information on him to give him a full episode of Death Battle. So that leaves one possibility. Dr. Octopus versus Mr. Freeze.
Really? This is the only other possibility? Your imagination must be incredibly limited if this is all you can come up with. I will bet you my chat can come up with a better matchup for Doc Ock than you could. In fact, please feel free to spam the chat with better suggestions for a Doc Ock matchup. Let's see how many matchups we can get going, and let's see how many of them are better than this.
A very bizarre fight when it comes to similarities, but a very...
I already explained this earlier. If it seems like I'm angry or yelling, I'm just intentionally acting more over the top for entertainment purposes, because my normal speaking voice is very boring and depressing to listen to. So I'm trying to fight against that to make this stream more entertaining for you guys. Don't worry, I am not actually angry. Trust me, if I was really angry, you would know. Anyone who has actually seen me angry knows it's a completely different story. I'm just trying to entertain you guys. I figure you enjoy me flipping out more than listening to just my boring, depressed voice. You know? Nemesis. I'm not quite too sure about Nemesis. I can kind of see where you guys are going with that, because Nemesis was a experiment gone wrong, and Doc Ock was an experiment gone wrong. But I don't know if that's really much to go off of. I mean, I get that Nemesis also has access to tentacles, but I think we need more than just they both fight with tentacles. Because even Granbull says he thinks that Doc Ock is so complex, we need a character that's just as complex. Also, last I checked, Mr. Freeze isn't really all that complex. In fact, as long as I've remembered, Mr. Freeze was a punchline. Maybe that's because of the Batman and Robin movie, and I'm being a little bit unfair to the guy. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, when you get down to it, Doc Ock is basically just a Light Yagami type. Yeah, he has his tentacles and Light Yagami has his Death Note, but when you get down to it, they're not fighters. They're more about brains and tactics than they are about fighting.
Fun one to be at that. While their powers are vastly different from each other, their origin similarities are ridiculously close.
And, of course, another mirror matchup. Well, their origin similarities are basically the same thing, so have them fight. Ugh. While I will give him points for at least them having different powers, I'll at least give him that. For not just throwing him against someone else who has access to tentacles. But he still can't help but to bring out the similarities. Again, stop with the similarities. Give me connections, not similarities.
And the fact that they are failed scientists who just want to do good in the world, but pretty much getting screwed over by the big corporations, and thus causing them to be consumed by their own work, and basically becoming mad with power. And quite frankly, it's a...
You know who else this happened to? Swamp Thing. Why don't you have Swamp Thing fight these guys while you're at it? You might as well throw Swamp Thing in there. Also, the whole scientist that wanted to do good but ended up getting screwed over by the corporation is so overdone. Do you know how many times Resident Evil has done that shit? with this same logic, you could justify Alice being thrown against him, or William Burkett. Why don't you throw William Burkett in there while you're at it? Why don't you throw Alice? Oh wait, we can't use Alice because she's not a scientist. Never mind.
It's a very even matchup. Like, it is very, very even on how close this fight is. Doc Ock obviously has reaction time and speed, given the fact that his metallic arms can fight on par with Spider-Man and catch automatic machine gun fire in their grips like it's nothing. Speaking of his...
Yeah, his arms can, he can't. He's just a human being. Like, that's the thing. There's not really much you can do here matchup-wise. There really isn't. All Doc Ock can do is fight with his tentacles. That doesn't give you much to work with fight-wise. This is why dynamics are very important. What's Doc Ock gonna do? What's gonna stop Mr. Freeze from just freezing his tentacles and ending the fight in a matter of seconds? Seriously. Yes, Alice is the main protagonist from the live-action Resident Evil movies. She was also a science experiment gone wrong and was fucked over by a corporation. Oh, but I forgot. Alice isn't a scientist, so we can't use her. Even though using the same logic, we could easily have William Burkett or Alice go up against this dude. Tentacles, it's a little bit harder to kill him, but at the end of the day, killing Doc Ock is extremely easy. Once you remove the tentacles from the fight, he's helpless. Like, seriously. Honestly, I'm pretty sure tentacle porn is more entertaining than this.
Metallic arms. His main weapon of choice are his, well, giant metallic arms. They're made of adamantium and have a...
How about his only weapon of choice? And yeah, sure, his tentacles are very impressive. But that's about all he has.
Mind of their own. They can react fast enough to catch bullets or even arrows from Hawkeye. They're heat-proof, immune to freezing, can generate electricity through them, storing...
This dude just invalidated his own matchup. Do you people see the problem here? I want you guys to point out the problem. Because what he just said, like, how did he not catch this? The tentacles are immune to freezing. So put him against the guy whose only power is to freeze shit. Once again, this is your brain on death battle. This is exactly the kind of crap death battle does. They will put one character against another character that they know they can't win. So this is game over. I'm not even going to listen to the rest of your crap, dude. You just invalidated your own matchup. I don't know if you write scripts, but you really should proofread them. I'm not even going to give you the time of day on this one. So let's move on. Fuck this. Jason Voorhees, I'm pretty sure I know where this is going, but let's give it a try. If this ends up being Jason Voorhees versus Michael Myers, we're skipping this. I've already debunked Jason Voorhees versus Michael Myers in a previous stream and multiple times on places like Twitter and Facebook. I'm not going to do it again.
Jason Voorhees versus...
Wow, I must be clairvoyant. And you know what? Screw you, dude. I'm not going to explain to you people why this matchup sucks. I'm so tired of it. Maybe you people are okay with being insane. I'm not. I don't like to repeat myself. Next. For those who are curious about my thoughts on Jason Voorhees versus Michael Myers, check out my previous stream of terrible death battle ideas. I go into great detail why this is a terrible matchup. Moving on.
Number 5. I gotta say, Heavy is my favorite character in TF2, personality-wise.
Oh boy. This has given me Vietnam flashbacks of Fan Wars The Heavy versus Ed from Ed, Edd and Eddy. Oh god. Okay.
Otherwise, he's okay. I just love his personality. He's always fun to be around, and plus, he's just really funny, honestly. I mean, then again, though, he's a big-ass Russian. What do you expect? So let's find an opponent for him, shall we?
Translation. He's a walking meme. Moving on. I mean, that's really all you need to know about Michael Myers versus Jason Voorhees. Michael can't kill Jason. He has no way to kill him. A kitchen knife isn't going to stop him. That's all I'm going to say about that. Jason can't be killed by Michael. It's just not going to happen.
Heavy versus Zarya. Zingy could be a fun idea.
Who? Forgive my ignorance, but who the hell is this character? Okay, what's going on? The stream all of a sudden dropped from 30 to 5. What is going on here? Why is this stream so unstable? Unless the video is so bad it's crashing my stream. Oh, she's a lesbian? Well, in that case, skip. I'm not even going to bother. That's all I really need to know. Forget it. Also, Overwatch is dying. Nobody cares.
So, let's get to them. Number 4.
This video is so bad it's crashing my stream.
Ah, a veteran has returned. That's right, King K. Rool is back at the plate. Let's see who his opponent is this time.
I love how he refers to this guy as a veteran, even though as far to my knowledge he's never appeared on Death Battle once.
King K. Rool versus Blackbeard. Grunty is the option I always...
Really? Oh, why am I not surprised on this one? Blackbeard versus... Do I really need to explain this one? Sometimes I feel like it's just not worth it. Like, okay, they're both pirates. Who cares? Odds are he has no way of matching the strength of the One Piece characters who are, at the very least, island level and massively faster than light. Yeah, there's a lot of One Piece characters that are casually massively faster than light. As far as I know, this character has no FTL feats. Let me put this into perspective for you. This would be like if Deadliest Warrior did Jack Sparrow versus William, or something like that. This is the equivalent of Deadliest Warrior doing, let's have a pirate fight another pirate. Like, this is just so stupid. So stupid. Like, I wish Deadliest Warrior never got canceled. We need Deadliest Warrior now more than ever. Because look at what Death Battle has done to these people. Also, from what I understand, Donkey Kong's best feat was punching a moon out of orbit.
Was here for K-Rool, but the problem with that fight is that it's a complete other stop for K-Rool, regardless on how you look at it. And it's a complete stop for Deity if you did King K-Rool versus Deity. So this is a good middle ground right here.
Oh, but this isn't a stomp? Really? This isn't... Okay. Let's take a look at some of his feats. Give me a second. Because I will bet you not one of his feats is matching anything Blackbeard has. Okay, let's do this. Physical feats. Okay, here's something that could potentially give him an edge. Apparently he's able to pull meteors from the sky. But who knows how strong these meteors are. But I don't know if this would be equivalent to, say, like the meteor spell from Final Fantasy, which can casually decimate planets. But there's just not really much here. I mean, he can turn invisible. That's something, but not much. Especially when you consider turning invisible probably isn't going to mean much to Blackbeard. Yeah, there's just not much here that I'm seeing. I can't even find any decent speed feats. I can't believe I'm going to resort to this, but let's see what the wiki has to say. So, if this is anything to go off of, he's physically stronger than Donkey Kong. So I guess maybe you could give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he is stronger than Donkey Kong's moon feat. However, since we don't know if that moon is the size of an actual moon or not, who knows if that's even a true moon level feat. So this is just an absolute mess altogether. Maverick, calm down. I know that the stream hasn't been doing the best. I don't know what to do about it because I don't know what the problem is. I know my streams haven't exactly been the most stable because I'm using a piece of junk to run these streams, but I'm trying my best. If I don't know what the problem is, then I can't fix it. I'm sorry. But anyway, so he's stronger than Donkey Kong. Okay. Let's see what Donkey Kong's best feat of strength is, and maybe we can see if we can come up with anything worthwhile. Because I'm skeptical on if him punching that moon out of orbit is even an actual moon, you know? Let's see here. Because normally if you crash a moon into a planet, typically it's going to cause at least surface level destruction. But we didn't see that. The moon didn't even cause any damage to the planet. Ah, here we go. Here's the feat I was looking for. Okay, so it's not going to take me to the exact point. Let's see what it says here. To send the Marioverse moon to Earth. You know what? A timestamp would have been nice. Fuck it. Yeah, I don't know what Mav is complaining about. Okay, so this is the moon. What are you thinking, guys? Would you say we could give King Drool the benefit of the doubt that he's stronger than moon level? I mean, I don't know. I feel like this could potentially be a massive highball. Because, like I said, this thing should have caused at least planet surface level destruction or life wiping destruction to this planet, and it doesn't do that. Observe. Okay, so it didn't even crush that island. So Donkey Kong couldn't even crush an island with a moon. Meanwhile, let's take a look at Blackbeard over here. See how far a little bit of research can get you? By the way, one thing I will say, if Blackbeard can match Luffy's speed in any way, shape, or form, or even keep up with him, then this dude is at least massively faster than light. And as far as my knowledge, at least in regards to the Donkey Kong characters, they have never displayed anything close to faster than light speeds. Okay, well the strength feats ain't giving me much to work with. But I know that Blackbeard is very strong. He should at the very least be island level. Anyway, point being, this is a laughable curb stomp. Like, I find it so rich that he says one idea is bad because it's a curb stomp, but this is also a curb stomp. Oh yeah, without question, Blackbeard is at least stronger than Luffy. At least. Hey dude, if you're going to talk shit about how King K. Rool slaps Blackbeard, then how about you bring it to the chat, boy? You just saw with your own eyes. King's best feat of King is stronger than Donkey Kong, whose best feat of strength couldn't even take out an island. Get real, dude. He ain't doing jack. If he is even comparable to Whitebeard in any way, Whitebeard at his prime was said to be able to destroy the entire planet. I shall reveal Zorro's opponent later because I'm going to be working on a reveal. Once I get the full lineup for Season 1 worked out, I'm going to reveal the full lineup outside of Ghost Rider vs. Simon. But, my god, like, listen, Marks. Blackbeard is at least massively faster than Light, and probably at the very least island level or above. He is easily able to take on Luffy without much effort. Luffy is at least massively faster than Light. At least. What the hell is King K gonna do to him? He's not even gonna be able to touch him.
It's pretty obvious. Pirate captains with absurdly weird arsenals. And I know most people would say he's more of a king than a pirate for K-Rool.
An absurdly weird arsenal. Okay, he carries around a cannon and he has some electric weapon. Ooh, what a strange arsenal he has. I've never seen such a thing before. Nobody brought up Luffy versus Mario, so get fucked.
But I'd say he's more pirate than king in my opinion. But anyway.
Well, as we've established, your opinion means jack shit, Grand Bull. How about you actually give us something to work with other than your opinion?
What I really like about this fight is the fact that it is fairly even.
Imagine saying that this matchup is even. Really? I know you have no clue what you're talking about, Grand Bull, and you don't even know how to power scale. But come on, for your own sake, at least do a little bit of research. I mean, just for your sake, so you don't look like a fool. I'm really trying my best not to be too harsh because I don't want to come off as a dick or anything like that. But his points are so bad. And the fact that he has to constantly say, in his opinion, usually when you have to say, in your opinion, that usually means you're not confident in your beliefs. But let's carry on.
Are fairly in the same ballpark range of each other. So let's break it down, shall we? King K. Rool has several useful weapons on hand, most notably his crown and boxing gloves. Both of these can be thrown like boomerangs and returned to K. Rool with no...
Also, I'm just going to say this. That little cannonball thing he carries around with him isn't going to mean anything to Blackbeard. Let's just get that out of the way right now. A cannonball wouldn't even be a nuisance to Luffy. He wouldn't even register it as an attack.
Though they can be caught by others, and they can be used against him. He has his helicopter packback, which allows him to float for a short amount of time, and his second most notable weapon, his blunderbuss. The blunderbuss can fire spiked or non-spiked cannonballs and can shoot two types of mist, which either freeze people in place or slow you down. It can propel K. Rool in any direction and can suck up and shoot out anyone or his cannonballs again. He also has belly armor that allows him to counter anything thrown at him, and even most projectiles. Blackbeard, on the other hand, has none of that. Well, maybe except for the old-fashioned pirate pistols, which he never uses because he has devil fruit powers. Go figure. And probably the most dangerous devil fruit power, in my opinion. This devil fruit allows...
Once again, in your opinion. Okay, once again, Granbull, I'm going to say this again. Your opinion means jack shit. Stop saying in your opinion. Give me some frickin' facts to work with here. You know for a fact Blackbeard's devil fruit power is not the most dangerous. In fact, it might be top 5 at best, okay? I'm sorry, but Blackbeard ain't got nothing on Sugar. Let's get that out of the way. Blackbeard will get shit stomped by Sugar, and it won't even be close. Sugar's power is far more dangerous and terrifying than Blackbeard's.
Encase the area in darkness, making the gravity extremely strong, similar to a black hole almost. It can absorb kinetic energy, nullify other devil fruit powers, and even compress death materials and expel them outwards. And after he defeated Whitebeard, he gained his devil fruit power as well, making him the only character in One Piece to have 2 devil fruit powers. This second devil fruit power allows him to create 9.8 magnitude earthquakes and can even make energy focus on specific parts. And
a 9.2 magnitude earthquake. Now, I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure that's at least a continental feat. But let's take a look. Shall we? Let me look this up real quick. Okay, that's not what I asked. I wanted to know how much destruction it caused. Okay, here we go. Depth 25 kilometers. Okay. Okay. Hard to say. Both are pretty bad at what they do. Maybe I'll make a video about that sometime. I already have plans for a tier list of the worst versus debaters in the entire community, so we'll save it for that. And yes, people like Seth and Clyde and Sir Splash will also be there too. But I'm trying to get an exact idea here of what destructive capability this would cause. Like, I'm trying to get just a simple explanation that most people can understand. Because I'm thinking that this is at least country or continental, but let's see. You know what? I probably shouldn't waste too much time on this. But we could probably presume that this is probably at least a small country level attack. Potentially. Because we know that it was stated that Whitebeard, in his prime, I have to stress that, in his prime, it was stated that his power was so great it would destroy the entire planet. Now, we don't know if this means the planet would have been obliterated or just all the planet's surface would be obliterated. But we could speculate that Whitebeard is anywhere between planet surface to planetary in power.
Over and over again, he's pretty difficult to kill. From being impaled by fire, punched by Luffy, surviving an earthquake to the face, and even a fire nuke. He survived quite a bit. So I'd give him experience, as he's fought a lot of weird people, so to say. So,
what does fighting a lot of weird people have to necessarily do with experience? I mean, could you give us a little bit more context as to what you mean by that? Also, there is one fatal flaw with being a devil fruit user. You become weak to seawater. This would be the only way King K. Rool would even be able to defeat Blackbeard. If you throw a devil fruit user into seawater, they become completely helpless, drown, and die. It's essentially like what happens to Naruto characters when they run out of chakra. They become helpless. So yeah, maybe if King K. Rool was able to throw him into seawater, he could defeat him, but that seems highly unlikely.
Who has strength? Blackbeard's greatest strength feat was when he shook an entire island with his Guronomi fruit powers. It was so strong it created these enormous waves. By measuring the island here and assuming a limestone composition, Blackbeard's earthquake must be exerting a force equivalent to over 2,500 megatons. And this is also held up by the fact that Whitebeard was strong enough to split an entire island in two. That's a force equivalent to 3,000 megatons. Meanwhile, K-Rool...
By the way, what's the point of suggesting these ideas if you're basically gonna do the work for Death Battle? I thought the whole point was you wanted to see Death Battle suck really bad at doing power scaling and calculations. Why are you trying to suck for Death Battle? Like, I don't understand the point here. No wonder this video is so long. You're trying to, like, you're trying to do power scaling when you should just be suggesting the idea and then leaving Death Battle to fail at doing the power scaling.
Rool actually passes that via scaling to DK, who punched the moon out of orbit. A feat that would require 3,400 megatons. And K-Rool can even overpower and survive hits from DK. Needless to say, both are very close in power, and potentially...
Okay, this is not good. My charger just stopped working for no reason. Crap. Ugh. Oh, this is just perfect. This is like the worst time for this to happen. There we go. Okay, we're good. Or not. I swear, this... I need to get a new extension cord. This is so frustrating. This thing is old as dirt. Okay, moving on. Also, I love how he says he can take hits from Donkey Kong. I have just proven that Donkey Kong's strength means jack shit. But whatever. Carry on, I guess. I mean, you have to give Donkey Kong maximum benefit of the doubt that maybe with that moon feat he could possibly destroy an island. Maybe. You have to give him so much benefit of the doubt. Also, I looked up Donkey Kong, and none of those feats were listed, and given how much of a terrible power scaler you are, Marks, I have no reason to listen to anything you say.
Especially in durability. So with all that out of the way, I'd say Kim will win this fight. Kinda close.
You think King is gonna win against a guy that's at least island level and massively faster than light? Really? That's adorable.
Close in power and durability, King K. Rool is just stronger, more versatile, and way more durable.
How is he stronger? How is he stronger? You didn't even bother to explain. I showed off Donkey Kong's greatest feat of strength and proved that it was basically nothing. He punched a moon out of orbit that was barely the size of an island, and it didn't even destroy the island it crushed. So it's likely not even a true moon. It's likely smaller than a moon. Also, more versatility? Really? How does he have more versatility? He has like what? 2 weapons? Bro, do I have to look up his powers and go over Blackbeard's list of powers? I can do that.
If Blackbeard were to win, I could see why, due to his powers being more destructive and being much faster. I think it would be a...
It's funny how this guy thinks that I'm the worst person in the Versus community, yet he makes arguments like this. He constantly contradicts himself. Like, say what you want about me, at least I'm logically consistent.
Fun fight if this were to happen and come to death battle. And it's not Grunty versus K-Rool. Seriously, I hate that fight. Number 3. Okay, you all know where this is going. Alucard, the badass vampire lord, is here, and let's see who he's gonna fight.
Oh no. No, no, no. I swear if you say it, dude. I've already debunked this, and Animation Rewind already did it and failed at it. Don't you even fucking think about it. I swear I will stop this video right now.
Alucard versus
Does this guy even have his own opinions? Is he incapable of providing his own opinion at all? Oh my god. How many frickin' times do I have to explain why Alucard versus Dio is fucking stupid? Okay, they're both vampires. Who gives a shit? Alucard is a badass vampire too. Why don't you do Alucard versus Alucard? Well, no. I'm done. I'm fucking done with this shit. And you contradict yourself. I'm not even going to bother with the rest of this. It's most like Palpatine versus Xanahort. That's it. We're done here. We are done. Grand Bull, you suck. Okay? I don't care if you call me a hater, you suck, okay? Stop. Just stop. Stop trying to power scale, you're not good at it. Stop trying to come up with versus matchups, you're not good at it. Just stop. Just go back to being a blind Death Battle fan and sucking Death Battle's dick, because that's all you're good for. That was painful. That was absolutely brutal. Nope, I'm not a fan of One Piece. My best friend is, but I'm not. I have nothing against One Piece. It's just not really my cup of tea. Bleach is more of my thing. I'm more of a Bleach fan than a One Piece fan. I have casual knowledge on it, enough to be able to reliably power scale the characters, but that's about as far as it goes. Let's hope this guy's video is a lot less more cringy.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor.
Because that was bad. That was really, really bad. I could. If you guys don't like me responding to the videos, that's fine. I could just go back to reacting to thumbnails if you want. I'm sorry, I didn't expect things to be that terrible. I am so sorry. Like, I knew I was walking into a minefield because I have to deal with this crap every day, but jeez. Holy crap. Okay, let me see what I have in my archives here. That hopefully will give us less of a headache. Some good non-supernatural anime. Well, it depends on what you mean by non-supernatural. If you mean any anime that doesn't have any supernatural elements whatsoever, well, that's very broad, and there's certainly a lot of suggestions I could give you. Let me check Discord real quick. Apparently you guys have sent me some stuff. Wow, it's hard to believe that the stream has only been going for 40 minutes. It feels like I've been here for hours. Like, damn. Ah, yes. Let me check my thumbnail thing. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay. This should do it. I apologize if this triggers anyone, but this is just really freaking bad. But, might as well get it over with. Give me a minute to pull this up. I cannot wait to watch Sweet Home with my brother after this stream. It's gonna be so nice. Alright. I should have it up here in just a minute. I warn you though, guys, this one is really bad. Like I said, massive, massive trigger warning on this one. I apologize to any Last of Us fans watching this stream, but this was too bad to resist. Negan versus Abby. What the fuck? Like, seriously, what is the logic here? Is it just because they're both bad guys? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm fully aware that The Last of Us ripped off The Walking Dead heavily, like plotline-wise, don't get me wrong. But I don't necessarily think that you need to necessarily have them kill each other over it. The Walking Dead and The Last of Us are both equally shit. Don't get me wrong. That is a fascinating connection. But outside of being from shit pieces of media, what do these two have to offer? One is a literal meme and a punchline of of transgender characters. Seriously, if I was transgender, I would be offended by Abby's existence. And then we have Negan, who is basically a cartoon villain. Like, the only thing good I can say about Negan is he's a wonderful metaphor for government. But that's about it. Like, as far as my knowledge, Negan has no feats whatsoever. He's just a guy with a baseball bat. That's it. Like, okay, he's very good at killing human beings. Wow. Wonderful. Beautiful. Perfect. Is there anything else that this matchup has to offer? Not really. And also, why Abby? Why not Joel? I have to assume the only logic here is they're both villains. But that's about all I have to go with on this one. Like, there's not really too much to say here. Like, I don't think we need to be reminded of the fall of what was once, well, actually, The Last of Us was never great. Actually, you know what, just fuck it. Moving on to the next one. Let's see what I have in my archives here. Though I'll definitely check the thumbnail section of my Discord. Let's see what we got here. I know I've saved some pretty crappy ones. You know what? I'm going to do something different here. I am going to show you guys a bad matchup that I came up with. Oh yes, I'm spoiling you guys this time. This is a matchup I used to be heavily in favor for. Lucy versus Accelerator. Now, this was originally going to be the Season 1 finale of Blood Royale. It was something I wanted to see so badly. But sadly, it's not something that can be done. And I'll explain to you why. This is what led to me coming up with my formula, my 4-step formula that I mentioned in my how to make a good death battle idea. Problem number 1 that I'm sure you guys can figure out very quickly, compatibility. This is absolutely unfair. Yes, Lucy is incredibly powerful, but she is no match for Accelerator, who can casually react to Misaka's lightning, which is capable of moving at light speeds, is stronger than Misaka, who is able to destroy all of Academy City, and recently in the novels is stated to be solar system level. Accelerator would absolutely obliterate Lucy. If you give Lucy maximum benefit of the doubt, you could maybe say that she's planet level, because there are lines in the manga that suggest that she's strong enough to destroy the planet, but she was killed before she could do so. So, if you give her benefit of the doubt, you could highball her to planet level. Maybe. But even then, that's still no match for Accelerator, and even then, she wouldn't be able to keep up with Accelerator in any way. She's sub-relativistic at best. Accelerator can casually react to light speed attacks without any kind of effort. And his vectors are far beyond anything that Lucy's vectors are capable of. For those who don't know, this character's name is Accelerator. He's one of the main characters in a certain magical index. If you haven't watched a certain magical index, what the hell are you doing with your life? Go watch it immediately. It's possibly the greatest anime I've ever seen. Accelerator is what is known as a Esper. He's an extremely powerful telekinetic, potentially the most powerful telekinetic in anime history. He's able to match Mewtwo in levels of strength. That's how powerful he is. And before you get any funny ideas, no, Accelerator versus Mewtwo is not any better of a matchup. Don't think that just because Mewtwo can match his strength, that therefore means that he should fight him. Because here's another reason why Lucy versus Accelerator is a terrible matchup. The reason why I wanted to see this matchup for so long was because they were two very powerful telekinetics and are also yanderes. Yes, both of these two characters are yanderes. The problem is, that's not really a whole lot to go off of. It's essentially just a mirror matchup when you break it down. Even their powers are both referred to as vectors. They don't work the exact same way, but they're a form of telekinetic powers. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a terrible matchup from the time when I wasn't such a wise versus debater. And really, there is just no excuse here. No excuse. This is awful. And if you've ever advocated for this matchup, please don't do it. If you've ever advocated for this matchup because you've seen me advocate for it, please stop doing it. This is a piss-poor matchup, and I really have no clue what the hell I was thinking. This is why compatibility and ignoring similarities is extremely important. This is where similarities and ignoring compatibility gets you. You get this. And the last thing I want to do is send Lucy to her death. Lucy deserves a worthy opponent, not to be slaughtered like a pig. So this is an example that I'm not infallible, and it's intended to prove that there is a process that I went through that led to me coming up with my formula for making a good versus matchup. So many people think that all my versus matchups are great when that couldn't be further from the truth. I have come up with my fair share of garbage matchups, just as everyone else. The difference is, I have learned from my mistakes, and I continue to improve my abilities over time. Not really. They were both experimented on. They're both yanderes. They're both extremely powerful telekinetics. The similarities are there. Although connection-wise, there's not really anything connection-wise here. But there are some bare-bones similarities that you could use, if you were desperate enough. But let's see what else we got here. Man, am I out of bad death battle thumbnails already? Damn, I'm gonna have to get some more. Yep, I'm completely out. Back to Discord we go. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. Might as well. Let's do it. And this time we actually have an explanation from the person who thought this was a good idea. Now, I'll admit I'm not very knowledgeable on this character here, but I'll do the best I can. So here we have, let me pull up Discord again. So here's the logic on this one. Professor Zoom versus Gilgamesh. Now, this is probably going to sound very familiar. Two yellow-clad, red-eyed sociopaths that love to rub their superiority to the heroes and are enemies of red-haired heroes who succeeded their predecessors. This is the verbal sewage of someone who has no clue what they're talking about. I can just feel the desperation in this man as he tries to explain this matchup. This is painfully bad. First off, I've said this many times before. If you have to point out the color of the characters to justify them fighting, you don't have an argument. Stop. So they both wear yellow. Who gives a shit if they both wear yellow? They both have red eyes. Who gives a fuck if they both have red eyes? What does that have to do with the fight? How does that make the fight better? Tell me, genius. How does them both wearing yellow and having red eyes, what does that do for the fight? You have to think about what makes the fight interesting. What about the connections makes the fight interesting? Stop just shoving similarities out there and just thinking that it will work. It is the go-to for people that have no effing clue what they're doing. Let's see what the chat has to say. You missed that. I gave my thoughts on Gilgamesh versus Dr. Doom at the beginning of this stream. It was literally the first one we spoke about. Yep, you're gonna have to wait until the stream is archived and then watch it. It was literally the first one I spoke about. I'm sorry, but there are just so many bad Gilgamesh matchups. I didn't plan on doing this many Gilgamesh matchups, but I can't help it. They are so freaking bad. And again, they are enemies of red-haired heroes who succeeded their predecessors. What the hell do you even mean by that? Red-haired heroes that succeeded their predecessors. Are you talking about Shiro? Like, I don't know if you know this, but Shiro did not succeed his predecessors at all. He only was able to defeat Gilgamesh because he had the perfect counter to the Gate of Babylon, and even then, he got lucky because Gilgamesh underestimated him. Also, this just goes to show you only have a surface level understanding of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh isn't even like this anymore. In Fate Strange Fake, his arrogance and egotism is gone entirely. Also, Gilgamesh is not a sociopath at all. Gilgamesh is still very much a hero. Yes, he's technically an antagonist, but good and evil in the Fate series is never as simple as black and white. For example, one of the main villains in Fate Apocrypha, his plan was to make everyone immortal. Sounds good, right? But it turns out that his plan wasn't really as noble as he thought it was. Thus, the heroes stopped him. And I love how you make no attempt to explain, like, why power-wise, dynamic-wise, or story-wise this would be interesting. Also, I'm willing to presume that Professor Zoom is likely a DC or Marvel character, and similar to Doctor Doom, Gilgamesh would most likely be obliterated all the same. So this is just stupid. Absolutely fucking stupid. And sadly, here's another stupid one that I've had to explain innumerable amounts of times over and over and over and over again, and I'm so sick and tired of it. But I guess there's a reason why my catchphrase is becoming, did I ever tell you the definition of insanity? Because it seems that everyone around me is fucking insane. I'll deal with that one in a little bit. There's so many to scroll through. Also, just real quick, CJ, Ichigo obliterates Hiei. It's not even close. Ichigo is easily planet level and hundreds of times faster than light. Casually, massively faster than light. Hiei wouldn't even know what hit him. He literally wouldn't know what hit him. It would be like that guy from the Astiff movie who gets hit by trains out of nowhere. It would be like that. He wouldn't even be able to react to him. Yu Yu Hakusho characters are debatably planet level. Ichigo is easily planet level. And it's like irrefutable that Ichigo is planet level. Like, it's not even a debate. Well, that explains why I've never heard of him, because nobody care. I got news for you. Let me make this perfectly clear. Nobody gives a fuck about the Flash's villains. Nobody. The Flash has some of the shittiest villains in comic book history. Nobody cares about them. Period. And nobody ever will care about his villains. Why am I constantly having to fucking adjust these? This is so annoying. Fuck it. Darth Vader versus Lancelot. This one, I am so sick and tired of having to explain to this individual that keeps suggesting it. This is a stupid matchup. First off, Darth Vader and Doctor Doom have nothing. My brain. I guess I have Darth Vader versus Doctor Doom on the mind because I'd rather be talking about that garbage. Okay. Darth Vader versus Berserker. I swear I'm becoming more retarded as this stream goes along. These two have nothing connecting them at all. He's not just some Black Knight, that's Lancelot. Yes, the same Lancelot from the famous King Arthur story. So, I don't know how many times I have to explain this before a certain someone gets this through their thick skull, but Darth Vader cannot fight Lancelot. This is a shit stomp. I don't know how many times I have to explain this. The Force doesn't work on astral beings. Force ghosts are astral beings. The Force doesn't work on them. This is what Obi-Wan meant when he said if Darth Vader struck him down, he would become more powerful than he could possibly imagine. Servants are spirits. They are nothing more than mana and spirit energy. That's all they are. The Force would not work. Not to mention, conventional weapons are also completely useless against servants. Servants cannot even be injured by conventional weapons. Darth Vader couldn't do anything to Lancelot. Nothing. He can't fight him. He can't use the Force on him. There's nothing he can do. Meanwhile, Lancelot is extremely OP. Anything he touches becomes his noble phantasm. For example, he famously turned a jet into his noble phantasm and proceeded to fight Gilgamesh in a dogfight, which he won. He defeated Gilgamesh in that dogfight. Not to mention, he also has many different skills and noble phantasms. One of them is the mastery of arms, which gives him instant mastery over all weapons, even weapons he has never used before. For example, guns. Even though Lancelot has never used a gun before, with the exception of when he was summoned as a servant in Fate Stay Night, he was able to have instant mastery over guns and use them on an expert level. Same with jets. That's an ability he has. So let's say Lancelot picks up a lightsaber or a blaster. He's going to have instant mastery over that weapon, and he will be able to have instant mastery over all 7 forms of lightsaber combat simply by touching the weapon. Not to mention, he also has another noble phantasm / skill that hides his identity, meaning you can't sense him and you can't find out what his identity is. If you don't know, when 2 jets fight each other, it is referred to as a dogfight. A dogfight is like an aerial battle between jets and whatnot. That's what dogfight means. Alright, thanks for joining. I don't know how much longer I'll keep this stream going, because I might become fully retarded if I keep this up. But moving on, essentially, all you need to know is Lancelot is extremely overpowered, and there's nothing Darth Vader can do to him. Consider the following. Darth Vader is extremely vulnerable to all forms of lightning, and can literally be turned off with the switch of a button. Darth Vader ain't shit. Okay? Darth Vader is a fragment of what Anakin Skywalker was capable of. He barely possesses half of Anakin Skywalker's full power. When he lost his fight to Obi-Wan, he lost, I believe it was as much as 60% of his connection to the Force. 60%. He doesn't even have half of the power Anakin Skywalker had. And even Anakin Skywalker would be helpless before Lancelot. There's nothing Darth Vader can do to him. He would die immediately with no resistance whatsoever. Once again, this dude who made this matchup, he knows who he is. Stop making suggestions for Fate matchups. You are terrible at it. Well, you're actually terrible at making up matchups, period. But in the case of Fate matchups, you are terrible at it because you understand nothing of the Fate lore. Nothing whatsoever. You don't even understand the basic principles of Fate. And as a result, you come up with dog shit like this. Because Darth Vader can use the Force to protect himself to a certain extent, depending on how powerful the Force user is. But in the Sidious, Darth Sidious intentionally made his suit from the weakest material possible so that Darth Vader could never surpass him. Moving on, let's see what else we got here. Okay, let's do this one. God, I wish my boy Sam was here to suffer with me. These are just really bad, especially in regards to these Fate matchups. These Fate matchups usually trigger the hell out of him. Harry Potter versus Rin Tosaka. I'm pretty sure this one is pretty self-explanatory for why this one sucks. Like, okay, I get it. People make jokes about how Rin Tosaka looks like Hermione, but I don't think that joke is necessarily a valid reason for her to fight a Harry Potter character. For reference, this is another character from the Fate universe that we've been talking about. This is one of the master characters, Rin Tosaka. She's a prodigy mage, and you already know where this is going. They both use magic, so have them fight. That's really all there is to it. Not to mention, Rin Tosaka would completely obliterate Harry Potter. Absolutely obliterate. His best bet at beating her would be using that instant death spell from the Harry Potter universe. And as far to my knowledge, he doesn't necessarily have very good knowledge of that spell or even good mastery of it. Any Harry Potter fans can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand, Harry Potter is not very good or well known for using the instant death spell. Rin Tosaka, on the other hand, has her basic attack is an ability known as Grandar. It's a curse that will absolutely screw you up. if you get hit by Grandar, you will become completely paralyzed. If you are hit by that thing, you're done. You can't move. You're done. That's it. Not only that, but it can cause you to fall ill as well. Not only will you become paralyzed, but you will become fatally ill to the point of violent vomiting. And that's just her basic attack. This is her casual attack that she whips out against people. Not to mention, Rin is one of the masters that ended up becoming a servant. Just like Shiro Emiya. Except she not only became a demi-servant, but she also ended up becoming... She also ended up being the body that was used by Ishtar. A servant so powerful she uses literal planets as ammunition for her bow and arrow. Now, I will assume that this individual just wants to do normal mage Rin versus Harry Potter, but even then, normal mage Rin will absolutely obliterate. She's strong enough to go toe-to-toe with other servants. She was able to take a life from Heracles. If you know anything about the Fate lore, you know that taking a life from Heracles, or even damaging him, is extremely difficult to do, if not borderline impossible, unless you are extremely powerful or have access to rank A noble phantasms. She can fight Castor and take a life from Heracles. She can easily obliterate a mansion with her power and has at least island-level strength. Now, her speed is all over the place. I would say she is sub-relativistic, potentially light speed. Harry Potter is going to fucking get owned, okay? Rin is going to curb stomp Harry with little to no resistance. And also, Rin has multiple different forms. So, depending on which Rin you use, Harry Potter's going to be even more fucked than he was beforehand. Because Demi-Servant Rin has access to Shu's power, aka Lancer, for those who know him by Lancer from Fate Stay Night. And if you don't know, he has a spear that can instantly kill you. Like, it kills you before he even throws it. It's a very overpowered ability that's borderline impossible to avoid. And she has access to that. Also, she has all the speed and strength of that particular servant as well. Rin is just an absolute beast. Like I said, Harry's only bet would be the instant death spell. Most of his magic isn't even going to phase Rin. Rin has all kinds of crazy abilities. She can literally erase memories. Not only that, but she has a spell that allows her to create a field that removes all sound from the area. Essentially, it makes you deaf. So again, good fucking luck. Again, what is Harry going to do here? This is what happens when your only logic is, well, they both use magic, so have them fight. You need to actually analyze the magic systems in question and make sure they're actually balanced. For example, the Final Fantasy universe also has magic, but guess what? The magic in the Final Fantasy universe decimates any resistance that the Fate universe could possibly provide. Considering that Final Fantasy characters have access to ridiculous magic. The Meteor spell alone can take out planets, and that's not even the strongest spell in the Final Fantasy universe. Not even by a long shot. It's only a level 7 spell at best. Also, characters in Final Fantasy has access to spells that can literally erase you from existence, or just instantly kill you. They also have access to spells like Auto Revive, which essentially makes you immortal. So, yeah. This is what happens when you just say magic versus magic. Final Fantasy characters have magic, but the magic system in Final Fantasy is just way too broken. Moving on. I'm probably only going to do a couple more because I think I'm starting to get a headache from the sheer stupidity of all this. No, I could have sworn that was yours. Okay, let's see what's next. Sadly, we got one more Fate matchup. I'm sure you guys are probably sick of all the Fate matchups. Don't worry, I promise this will be the last one. And you'll quickly figure out why I cannot ignore this one. This one is personal, and you'll quickly find out why. Man, what is up with the inconsistent size of these thumbnails? There we go. I literally just told you that Astolfo is from Fate. So here we have Astolfo versus 2B. Now, I don't even know what the logic is on this one. Hopefully the idiot who made this is still watching and he can shed a little bit of light. But this, I don't even get where he's going with this one. I mean, the best I can come up with is he's trying to ape the matchup I came up with for Blood Royale, where I won't announce it here. I'll save that for later. But the second episode of Blood Royale is going to involve a matchup of magic versus science. And my best guess is he's trying to do the same thing here. Magic versus science. The problem is Astolfo doesn't use magic. He has magical items, but he doesn't use magic. If Astolfo was a magician, he would have been summoned as a caster. Astolfo can't even be summoned as a caster. He has a grimoire that makes him immune to magic, but that's about it. So if you're trying to go for magic versus science, you failed miserably on that one. But what is even the logic here? Is the logic here that they're both beautiful and sexy? Like, seriously. What am I even supposed to go off of with this? Actually, Astolfo's a paladin, if you want to get technical. But, yeah. I don't even know what more to say about this one because this matchup gives me nothing to work with. There's no similarities here. The only connection you have is magic versus science, and even then, Astolfo doesn't use magic, so that falls apart really quickly. I mean, you got 2B that's an android versus a servant. Like a cross-dressing spirit, essentially. So we have a cross-dressing spirit versus an android. Also, based on what little I know about 2B, I'm pretty sure Astolfo would completely obliterate her. I could be wrong. Admittedly, I won't act like I'm a complete expert on 2B. I think I've power scaled her like once. But this just feels like a bad joke death battle to me. And by a bad joke death battle, I mean it's a joke death battle with no joke. Like, joke death battles sometimes get leniency for being shit as long as there's a good joke there somewhere. Like, again, I don't know what more to say about it. Like, unless the person who made this matchup shows their face and provides some kind of explanation, there's nothing to go off of here. Why is it that every matchup I see that involves a Stolfo is freaking trash? There's also that matchup we spoke about of that stupid twat from Ruby going up against Astolfo. Why? Who the hell knows? But let's see what we got here. We might have time for one more, potentially. Ghost Rider versus Hellboy. What the fuck? Okay, well this one has seemingly pissed off a lot of people. Okay, this one has to be a joke. The Blue the Velociraptor versus Alex the Lion. I refuse to believe that that's anything more than a joke matchup. I'm not going to address joke matchups because usually, like I said, well, here we go. I figured this was going to frickin' happen. Plus, I've been wanting to talk about this one anyway. Might as well get it over with. Okay. Okay. This one is probably going to piss a lot of people off. But these people just never learn. Sometimes I wonder why. How many times do I have to explain why these matchups suck before people get it? Seriously, why? Why? What? Why? Am I going to need to paint these people a picture? Oh, I've noticed that the stream is buffering. Let me know if you guys are having that problem. But yeah. So, let's go over this one. Juvia versus Katara. So, let's take a girl whose power is to turn into water and have her fight a girl whose ability is to control water. Yeah, that sounds about right. But let's take this a step further. Not only can Katara bend water and control ice, but she is a bloodbender. She can control people through blood bending. What the fuck is Juvia gonna do against her? If she turns into water, Katara is just going to manipulate her water. And she can easily freeze her. If she doesn't turn into water, Katara can easily just bloodbend her. And Katara is shown to be an absolute master of waterbending, possibly the strongest waterbender of her era. There is nothing Juvia could throw at her that would pose any kind of threat to her. Any amount of water she throws at her, Katara will just redirect it right back at her, or just take control of it and add to her own water. Katara has literally taken on armies single-handedly. She once created a tidal wave so strong, it took out an entire army of Dai Li agents. If you know anything about the Dai Li, you know it took the strongest earthbender just to be able to take them on in their own headquarters. Well, first off, you failed miserably. Waterbending doesn't work under the blood moon. The blood moon will take a waterbender's power away. It works during the full moon when a waterbender's power is at their peak. And considering that versus matchups you use their characters at their peak power, it makes sense to have Katara fight her opponent during a full moon so her powers are at max potential. So yes, she would absolutely have access to her bloodbending because it would make sense to have her fight during a full moon. So again, outside of maybe a stat advantage, maybe, what is Juvia going to do to Katara? Her only power is to manipulate water against someone whose power is to manipulate water. Exactly. Bloodbending is not waterbending. Katara can bloodbend, icebend, and waterbend. She has more versatility than Juvia. And all three of them basically guarantee that Juvia can provide no resistance against her. Give me a second, guys. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah. Please explain to me in the chat if you can, what is Juvia gonna do to her? Okay, she can't control Juvia easily. Based on what? What is even your basis for that? Juvia's only power is to manipulate water. Juvia can turn into water. And she has access to blood bending, which is the most powerful bending short of energy bending. Also, if you want to go off of Legend of Korra, now I don't consider Korra canon, but if you want to go off of that, we've seen that blood bending is so powerful, it can take people's bending away. That's how powerful it is. So we could potentially say that Katara, if Juvia's powers can be considered similar to bending, then she can just use the same technique Amon used to take people's bending away. And the explanation for how Amon was able to take people's bending away is bloodbending can be used to cause a physical block so that people cannot access their chi or any other of the things they need to access their bloodbending. I mean, not their bloodbending, their bending. Bloodbending can cause a physical block that can prevent benders from using their power permanently. It's essentially a more advanced form of what Ty Lee can do. So, if we can prove that Juvia's powers are comparable to bending, then guess what? Katara could most likely just take her powers away. Now, sure, we can easily throw that argument out the window because it's Legend of Korra knowledge, and Legend of Korra completely fucked up bloodbending, but that's besides the point. It's meant to show that there's just so many ways in which Katara can completely screw Juvia over. The most I can maybe provide for an argument as to why Katara wouldn't be able to easily control Juvia is because in Avatar, it's very difficult to control living things. That's why, for example, woodbenders were never able to just bend wood. Or waterbenders can't just simply control people even though they're made up of water. There's a lot of prerequisites that have to go into that for them to be able to control living things. However, I would argue that that's mostly bullcrap because since Juvia can literally turn herself into water, unless it's specified to be some kind of magic or spirit water, even though Katara has manipulated water from the spirit oasis, so that argument would probably be invalid as well. It seems unlikely to me that Katara wouldn't be able to just manipulate her water. I'm not saying that. I said if we can prove that Juvia's powers can be comparable to bending. Now, as far to my knowledge, from what I understand about the fairy tale universe, it is mostly a universe of magic users. And for the most part, bending is not comparable to magic. So you could potentially throw that argument out the window. The point I'm trying to get across is just how easily it would be for Katara to control Juvia's water. Unless under very specific circumstances. So unless Juvia's water has some kind of special properties to it, it seems unreasonable that she wouldn't be able to just use her own water against her. No, it has never been stated that waterbenders are incapable of freezing blood. We've never seen this ability be used, but we could assume that bloodbenders have this ability. Because there's no reason to assume that they wouldn't be able to combine their blood bending with their ice bending. Now, and here would be my argument. If you say that it's not possible for Katara to freeze someone's blood, then I would say that's bullshit because this is the equivalent of saying we've never seen Cell destroy a solar system, so therefore Cell is not solar system level. You kind of see why that argument wouldn't work? So I would say it's within the reasonable abilities of Katara based on what we know about her powers that she could likely absolutely combine her blood bending with her ice bending to just freeze someone's blood. And we know that blood bending is extremely difficult to resist. Even the Avatar himself was made helpless before the power of blood bending. And it seems unlikely to me that Juvia would have any kind of counter for bloodbending whatsoever. She could maybe try transforming into water, but then she just runs the risk of Katara being able to potentially manipulate and freeze her water. Either way you look at it, this matchup is an absolute mess. I've explained this numerous times before with these same elemental matchups. I'm sick of having to say this. Ooh. Let's do the Reese's one. Okay, now where was I? I absolutely can. Because unless you have a counterpoint to bloodbending, that is essentially game over. That is a very important thing that must be understood when you are fighting against Katara. Bloodbenders are not meant to be taken lightly. Bloodbenders are incredibly powerful. Bloodbenders are potentially the most powerful benders in the entire universe. The only exception to this is potentially energy bending. And that's only because energy bending has the ability to take bending away. But even then, that requires a lot of assumption because you have to actually be able to use the energy bending, and we've seen that blood bending is able to easily take away people's ability to bend by simply taking control of their arms. Bending requires use of the arms. Take the arms away, the person cannot bend. So even if you ignore Legend of Korra, Katara can still essentially take away one's ability to bend by just easily using blood bending. And even if you take blood bending out of the equation, Katara is an absolute water bending master. She has absolute control over water with the exception of special circumstance water. She is a master healer, was able to bring the Avatar back from the dead, and has water bend, and her water bending is absolutely elite tier. Katara was trained to be able to pull water out of thin air and plants. That's how powerful she is. Okay, I've already debunked this the first time with the first guy. You either don't know anything about Avatar or your memory is dog shit. The Blood Moon takes Waterbender's powers away. It is the full moon. When a Waterbender's power is at their peak through the use of the full moon, they can bloodbend. This is my problem with fairy tale fans. They have no arguments. Either that or their arguments are trash. You keep getting basic things wrong. It is basic information that the full moon gives waterbenders full potential maximum power. The blood moon takes their bending away. When Zhao killed the moon spirit and caused a blood moon, the waterbenders lost their power. If I have to explain that for a third time, I will likely quit the stream due to the fact that I cannot keep repeating the same point over and over again. Also, you say the best Katara could do is put her in a jar. What's stopping Katara from just manipulating her when she turns into water, freezing her, and then killing her right then and there? Seriously, give me a valid reason for why Juvia wouldn't be screwed if she turned into water. Because I see no reason why Katara wouldn't be able to easily manipulate her when she turns into water, freeze her, and then kill her. Provide me a valid argument, Fairy Tail fans, if you can. The most I can give you is you could give Juvia the benefit of the doubt and say that since her water is magic water, maybe Katara wouldn't be able to manipulate it. Maybe. But even then, that requires a lot of assumption. Because we've seen Katara manipulate water from the Spirit Oasis. Which implies that Katara can, to some degree, manipulate water with spirit energy. And I say to some degree, because it is also well-known information in the Avatar universe that bending does not work on spirits, and it does not work in the spirit world. Honestly, we're just going to be here all night. And I definitely don't want to be here all night because I do have plans to watch Sweet Home later on. So I'm just going to move on to another one. This is much more of a shit show than I thought. Screw this matchup, it's garbage. It's more of the same. A mirror matchup where the sole premise is they both manipulate the same element. These matchups are garbage. Unless there is a vast power disparity or a hack ability that one of these two possesses, then it's just going to end in a stalemate. Because they're just going to keep manipulating each other's element and then nothing's going to be achieved. However, once again, Katara has more versatility. She can mud bend, she can water bend, she can blood bend, and she can ice bend. She has far more versatility than Juvia does, who can only control water as far to my knowledge. Maybe she has other abilities, but from what I know, she can manipulate water, and that's about it. Moving on. Fuck, I hate this matchup. Well, this is stupid. Saitama versus Krillin. Now, I'm pretty sure Seth the programmer already explained why Krillin would fuck up Saitama. And I'm pretty sure the only logic here is they're both bald. Wow. How freaking amazing. That one's not even worth the effort. Sadly, there's another Gilgamesh here one. There's another Gilgamesh one here, but I think we've already done enough Gilgamesh. Moving on. Light Yagami versus the Riddler. Not even going to bother with that one. I've already addressed that one in the past. Carnage versus Alex Mercer. I already have a potential opponent that could work for Alex Mercer, but I'll save that for another time. Because this is shitty death battle ideas, not good death battle ideas, and I want to disassociate Blood Royale from death battle as much as possible. Let's see here. Trying to find a really, really bad one. And we've already spoken about Lucy, so... What the actual... Okay. This might work. Hopefully I can spell this dude's name right. Screw it. The Persona fans can kill me later for not being able to spell this dude's name right. Cole versus Alex. I don't know about that one. For some reason, a lot of people suggest that one, although I'm not fully certain as to why. Fuck. This one is just absolutely nonsensical. Why is this file size so freaking huge? Is there any reason this needs to be so big? Or is it just that my software is trash? Okay. Okay. Griffith versus Akechi. For what purpose does this even exist? I don't even know what to make of this one. Like, I can't even think of a potential reason. Like, first off, Akechi's powers are very weird and only work under specific circumstances. Griffith's powers are mostly featless and impossible to scale. And it's safe to assume that human Griffith will die against Akechi in about 5 seconds. So this is dumb. The best I can assume is they both have control of items that can fulfill your desires, I guess. But even then, this is just stupid. Really fucking stupid. So let's see. We might have time for one more. Maybe. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, well, this is stupid, but it's also easy at the same time. Well, I screwed up that spelling, but whatever. Okay, here we go. This one is probably extremely obvious. Deoxys versus Boros. Okay, Boros is a confirmed solar system. Ugh, damn it. Boros is a confirmed Starbuster. That's it. He's a Starbuster. Versus Deoxys, who is at least solar system level. Like, most legendary Pokemon are ridiculously powerful. Like, at least capable of solar system level feats or greater. Like, this is an absolute punchline. What is even the logic for this one? Okay, so you have Boros, an alien who conquered everything in the galaxy and wanted to find a worthy opponent. And then got his ass handed to him by Saitama. Versus Deoxys. Like, why? What the hell is anyone even supposed to get from this? First off, Boros dies almost instantly. And I don't even know what the connection even is on this one. Like, Deoxys isn't like some kind of like galaxy-spanning conqueror or anything like that. Like, Boros is intended to be like the parody equivalent in his universe to someone like Frieza. That's the purpose he's meant to serve. Like, you do know that all characters in One Punch Man are intended to be parodies, right? They're not supposed to be taken seriously. These are parody characters. At the end of the day, they are little more than jokes, mockeries of certain tropes that One Punch Man was making fun of. So, this is stupid. Very stupid. Maybe if you had Boros go up against another parody character, it could work. And please don't confuse a parody character for a gag character. They are not the same thing. And for any One Punch Man fans watching, no, Saitama is not a gag character. So, yeah. I think that might be it for now. I mean, I could certainly keep going, and I'll gladly do this again next time, but I think we've gone over quite a few. And yeah, these were terrible. Very, very bad. Step up your game versus community, because this is embarrassing. This is really, really bad. And to show that I'm not being biased or that I think I'm perfect or anything like that, like some people seem to think I am, one of these matchups was a matchup I came up with that's absolute dog shit. The difference is I've learned from my mistakes. So when will you guys learn from your mistakes? And by you guys, these people know who I'm talking to. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I'll definitely try to do some more on top of getting some more videos uploaded. I'll put some extra time into the Hulk versus Broly review. I've been trying to think of what to do for that review because I wanted to do something special since it was the 10th anniversary, but I can't think of anything to do. So it might just end up being a normal review because I don't know what else to do, like special-wise. But thanks for joining me, and let me know how you feel about this potential name for the podcast of Have a Seat with Kimimorra. Yes, I'm fully aware that it's a sort of a knockoff of Chris Hansen's stupid catchphrase, but I don't care. I have no respect for that guy, and I would love to jack his catchphrase because he's a piece of shit. But let me know how you guys feel about this name potentially being the name for the podcast. If you don't like it, that's fine. I've been kicking around a lot of different names. And if you have any ideas for names, always feel free to let me know. You know I love to hear your opinions and perspectives. They mean a lot to me. So I'll see you guys around, hopefully most likely tomorrow.